Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. I hope all is well. If this is your first time tuning in, hello, hi, welcome, thank you. Get on in here. Please follow us on YouTube at Inappropriate Radio TV. Alright. No periodic table, no alien talk this evening. However, you already know the creator came through with a message. So, guys, this download is super crazy. Alright, I got a download. Was it yesterday or the day before? I believe it was yesterday. It kind of scared me because and my cage never gets rattled, okay? Nothing rattles my cage. I'm not going to say I'm scared. I was scared. I'm going to say that I was alarmed. Okay, yeah, better word. I was alarmed, okay, by this download because it revealed to me some of the curses that I had broken off of myself, even though it appeared to people who were trying to throw hexes around. It appeared to be effective. However, it wasn't, okay? But people who make it through certain hurdles and they go through certain passages to get to certain things in the physical, it is still possible to still be in debt and to still be bound spiritually, okay? So it's important for people to understand that there are two different things that can happen, okay? When you are still in debt, right? So traditionally, people who are breaking off curses and spells are sent to be in certain cycles in order to get in alignment. They have to pay their karma off first, right? So the karma, the debt associated with this karma, meaning someone did something they shouldn't have, and then what happens is you are ultimately free if all of the bondage that you were subject to, right? You get released from that when the debt is paid. Again, this debt can have been accrued by you in this life. It could have been accrued by you in another life. It could have been passed down through the lineage, meaning that it's been accrued by one of your ancestors and no one paid the debt off and it's just trickling down the bloodline. It can, of course, be a curse or a hex that is bloodline related and someone has to pay it off. Or it could just be something that someone connected to you has accrued in some way or the other, and because you are connected to them via spirit or close proximity, you have collected some of their debt, right? You need to pay it off, okay? Typically what happens is people get their blessings blocked and they're not fully in alignment when this debt isn't paid off, okay? Now, we always talk about that. We never really went into how people can still be in bondage, but still be able to surpass certain hurdles. And this is what spiritual warfare shows up as when you see people who, let's just say the creator has written something in, you are obedient, right, on surface level, and you get to accomplish many of the things that the Creator wants you to, but you're still in karmic debt. So what happens is a lot of the things that you get to accrue and accomplish, other people get to directly benefit off of it, and it tends to be more beneficial to others than yourself if this debt isn't paid off. And you can become bound, and you can actually become a slave to people. Now, of course, there can be some sort of curse or hex that people throw around to be able to directly benefit from the fruits of, your labor, if they're able to successfully attack you, right? And we already know the only way that these attacks can be successful is if the Creator allows it. So this mainly points to the debt that needs to be paid, okay? Either the debt needs to be paid because you are connected to a bloodline that has a debt, right? And someone needs to pay the balance. And because you are vibrating at a particular frequency, you can afford to pay it, right? And this is mainly for people who have been able to see both sides of the warfare, meaning you have been attacked and you know what it's like to overcome and not succumb to the attacks, okay? This is why it's important to not become so attached to materialistics and anything that is tangible or that has been gained through, monetary means or things like that. Because most times people will use those things as a way to trap you. Okay, I know that this person needs money or they love money so much and they have blessings that are due. And if I can get them to exert their energy and focus their energy on the wrong things, then I can distract them from what it is that they really need to be paying attention to and focusing on. And that is going to be very difficult to someone who is aware of their spiritual needs. You can only trap people with money, cars, jewelry, clothing, traveling, and, good eats. You can only trap a person like that who is already bound in the spirit, meaning you are so attached to those things that you're not willing to let them go at any expense. In fact, you are willing to do whatever is necessary to keep those things, okay? Including sacrificing people, giving up your spiritual gifts, in order to have, certain things in the physical realm, things of that nature, right? The gist of this conversation is to be aware that it's not even about your attachment to materials. It's about your attachment to the spiritual world and how bound you may be to things that you actually need freedom from. Okay? And you may very well have to pay with your life even. Marvin Gaye is a good example. May he rest in peace. He is a great example of someone who was able to physically pass through hurdles, but he was so bound in spirit that he ended up having to pay. Not only did he have to use all of his proceedings from an album to pay his wife, his ex-wife, or whatever she was, he was also murdered by his own father. Okay, so this is an example of someone who was able to reach through the heights that they were supposed to, and they were released from many different hexes and curses that were related and connected to their bloodline, but because they didn't get to pay off all of the debt, they had to not only shove out their benefits directly to other people that are connected to them. They had to be, and I'm saying they as in, this type of situation happens with certain people. B, he paid the rest of the debt with his life, okay? Now, this could have very well been debt that was accrued through the bloodline, and it sounds and appears that there were two different things happening in his particular case. So he kind of like suffered more than one way, okay? With the first being, he had debt from his past life that he had to pay off. And again, it could have been a curse or a hex from this life or a past life. But because he was able to make it through certain thresholds, meaning he was actually able to get to his calling, right? And even that could have been stolen energy, right? He could have stolen someone else's energy in this time to make it there. So there are several different possibilities when debt needs to be paid off. And I'm just throwing that out there, throwing that around because it is possible. I personally think that it was his purpose and his calling from the creator that Marvin Gaye was to be a world-renowned entertainer, right? But he ended up having to pay some of his financial rewards as a result of his gift to someone else, right? All of it. You have to look up the story. And then to be murdered by his own father, it screams a curse that is connected through the lineage. So those are different layers that tend to like overlap, right? They start to run into one another, and there were a lot of things that hadn't been resolved because he wasn't able to grow old. That not being able to grow old is another telltale sign that something connected to the bloodline. It could have been maternal or paternal, right? Those signs, right, of not being able to grow old, having discord with your parents or your siblings are definitely two telltale signs, right, that point to bloodline situations and debts or curses. So yeah, it's important to be aware that you can still be in debt and bound in the spirit, even though you are reaching certain heights in the physical plane. These are thresholds that need to be passed through in order for certain curses to occur. But if the spiritual work is not being done, this will cause discord and imbalance, and it'll start to manifest itself as you not being able to fully receive the benefits, all of the benefits, all of the fruits of your labor, as it should be. So it's very important to make sure you are fulfilling the energetic and spiritual things. And that could have been the payment, right, that the Creator had in line for him to fully be paid off once he is taken out by his dad, and once he gives up whatever he was set to accomplish, right? And then the debt could be finally paid there. But yeah, if you look into his story and you understand anything about cycles, that is an amazing way to get information and insight. okay, on karmic debt. But I'm going to end it here. I do love you all. I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. I hope you are drinking your water, eating your fruit and vegetables, and sipping on your own tea because it's free. I love y'all. Peace.